get juicy with it. We'll have some great conversations. I know that the people love the intro music, so we'll continue to roll with that.
Top sports where the takes don't miss. The prof with the stats, the champ with the fist. Water bringing fire, cowboy tie, riding bull. Bulls calling bets, watch the stories unfold. And it's truly eyebrows running the show. It's high top sports, baby.
Let's get it. Let's go. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday to all of you beautiful people out there, all you beautiful faces. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. The show's brought to you by, of course, Kalshi. We are so dang close to 30,000. It ain't even funny. So if you haven't subscribed, we greatly appreciate it if you could. We're going to talk about a lot today. Chris Collins is a name that is back underneath that same kind of category as Brandon Harris, the expected to sign with the Florida Gators. It hasn't been officially announced, but those are two names that seem to be trending in the right direction. Some other names are trending away from Florida, one of those being Derek Nix. We'll talk about that, the running back coach as well. And it looks like Coach Summerall is trying to round out the other assistants. We'll talk about the names that are being spoke about. And we're also, Cody's going to join us today. We're going to talk about the two expected hires, why we like. And look, I've told you this entire time. I think we need to be critical. We need to have a very open mind about it. We'll take a look and see how the chat's feeling about it as well. I think for people to have a more reserved view on it is healthy. I think there are people that are having a very optimistic view, which I usually tend to carry to the table, which we'll do that as well. Again, I think they've done a great job thus far of creating a solid base with their hires of the coordinators on top of Troutwine. So now we've got to see where do they go from here. To be honest with you, the names that I'm hearing are still much of an improvement from where we were. Low bar, though, right? Low bar. Look, I think the biggest loss, in my opinion, right now is Jaluk, which we said that when it happened, but I was okay with the moving on, just given the fact of, look, you were part of this staff for quite some time. They had the issue with LSU. I don't see there in a world where they were able to retain him, but that's neither here nor there. We got Cody, the prof, joining us here today. Cody, how you doing, big guy?
Yeah, just hanging out. Sunday, got to go in for some OT this afternoon. So, just thought we'd kick off the show before, take a little nap.
Well, we appreciate you, clocking in here for a little bit with us. But
Yeah,
we
no
obviously, the Brandon Harris is expected to be announced. Like I say expected because I want to make sure that's emphasized. People in the comments section were like, hey, Sean, well, this doesn't happen. Like, I mentioned that it was expected, that it wasn't guaranteed to happen. But not everybody likes to listen to me when I talk. But again, the way that they're written, there hasn't been a coach that we've seen being expected not work out just yet. I'm not saying that it can't, but that's why we're kind of navigating the way that we are. So Brandon Harris was announced to be expected a couple days ago, DB coach. It's funny because I think I took a very medium approach to it, and I saw a comment was like, "This is not a bad hire." Like, I didn't say it was. I said it was the least splashiest, in my opinion, of the three that have happened thus far. But it's a very sneaky good hire because of what it could be, the expectations of what it could turn into. And Chris Collins now, who was the former co-DC / DB coach at Kentucky, is coming over as well. And again, kind of falls into that same category. Not very splashy when you're coming from the likes of Kentucky, but worked under Brad White. You have to expect a little bit of a copy and paste, right? Everyone goes, well, I don't want a bunch of guys from Georgia Tech, and I don't want a bunch of guys from Kentucky. Well, it's okay. I hear you, right? You look at both those schools, you're like, those schools haven't done anything. Both have had more success in Florida, but that's neither here nor there. But Faulkner knows certain guys that have helped his offense tick. So if he's offensive coordinator of the year, right, he's that for good reason. So we should trust him in the hires that he's willing to put around him. He's putting guys that he feels are going to help him run the way that he wants to run, right? And I would argue the same thing for Brad White and Summerall. Again, defensively, I think that Summerall is going to have a hand in that more so than the offense, I would assume. And I trust you. At some point, we can't just pick and choose. We got to have some trust. We can have some criticism. But the Chris Collins, I've got a quick little fun fact here because although it's not splashy as a recruiter, the big thing for him is that he put in a number one draft pick. Let me see. I have it right here. Where did it go?
Yeah, that's the speedy. That's the thin, wiry, speedy corner out of Kentucky, I believe.
Max Harrison, who was drafted first in 2025 NFL draft, who is a product. So again, the development, like those are things that we kind of lacked, right? We like every guy that came on our staff, I felt like their biggest thing was, hey, these guys can recruit very well. And like when I think of Coach Vinny, who I had no problems with. A young up and coming cornerback coach or safeties coach, if you will, played the game very, very recently, had very great recruiting ties, right? But necessarily wasn't necessarily the splashiest on the football field. But these guys that have been coaching this position fall into that Billy Gonzalez category, in my opinion, that have coached this position for a very long time. And both Harris and Collins at their respective schools were trusted at some point or another to do co-defensive coordinator. So they've had elevated roles. They've been entrusted, if you will, with bigger picture jobs. So again, is it a splashy hire? Is it a knock your nuts off type of hire? I don't know where you go for those kind on every single position group. No, but I think it's a very healthy hire. That again, you got to see how this thing comes together. I love the lineman hire. We still don't know if what we're happening on the edge group because Mike Peterson has been released. So I don't know where they're going to go with the edge room. That's something that I'm going to keep an eye on as well.
I think that's the biggest question mark, right? I think we got a pulse on everybody else, possibly going and hiring, his brother from FSU. His dad is a local legend, obviously, with him coaching at Booker T. Washington and obviously Northwestern. He's still down there at charter school.
You didn't say his name. You're talking about Tim Harris.
Last year. Yeah, Tim Harris.
Yeah. So Tim Harris is a name that's being thrown around. So two wide receiver names were Marcus Davis, who's currently or was the Auburn wide receiver coach who was responsible for the Cam Coleman commit, which would be huge. But Tim Harris Jr., who is the brother, like you said, of Brandon Harris, who we've recently are expected to hire. Tim Harris is currently at FSU. And there was an expectation that both the brothers would be coaching at FSU, and now there's a high possibility that he could be coming to Florida. And now you have this, as you were alluding to, a recruiting powerhouse in South Florida. Continue as you were, because you didn't mention it, so I just want to make sure they knew who we were talking about.
Yeah. His their dad is a well-known high school coach and coached at Miami Northwestern, coached at Booker T. Washington, and now coaching at a charter school down there in Miami. And it's one of those things where, I think that where we've had a little bit of access of Miami recruits, that South Florida recruiting base, we've got a couple. I think you can blow the doors wide open with these two if they do hire the two Harris brothers. And I kind of like it, man. Bam Hardman might be the outside linebacker / edge. That would be a great hire. I forgot about him. Yeah.
Well, he's
really
expected to come over as a linebacker group. I knew that. I didn't know that he was going to have.
But they're
both.
still in the playoffs. I don't expect any Tulane coaches to be announced until after the playoffs, to include the strength and conditioning coach. That has also not been announced. That tells me that we're probably getting the guy from Tulane. I guess he's a top 5 strength and conditioning guy in the nation. So heck of a grab there. I think that we need to get back to recruiting Florida very well, and not just Duval, but we need to be able to reach down to Miami and go grab, a top 50, top 100 player when we need to. And I think that with these two, if they do hire Tim also, I think you really open up the floodgates to Miami Northwestern, Booker T. Washington. We've got a couple of guys out of there, but I want all of them. I want all of the dogs out of Miami. I want Coach Cristobal to be looking around and being like, what the hell just happened? We can't even get a cat that we want from 50 miles from our campus. And that's what I want. I want us to lock down the state of Florida, not just Duval, not just bits and parts of the Gainesville Central area. I want to lock down all of Florida.
Yeah, and I see some comments saying we don't want FSU rejects. Well, Brandon Harris wasn't an FSU reject. He was highly pursued after FSU, and we walked in and said, "Hey, we'll take you." And I don't think Tim Harris is a reject. I don't think they're trying to get rid of Tim. I think we're stealing Tim away from them. And again, not wanting players or coaches from certain schools, if I think about that, and it's well, that they sucked. Well, there's a lot that goes in just one group. I'd argue that the wide receivers are probably one of the highlights of Florida of FSU with Deuce Robinson in the year that he had. Now they had a case of the droppies too, so let's not get carried away. But When I think of Will Harris. Will Harris obviously was a coach for us, then goes to Miami. We kind of were like, okay, we liked what he did, but at the same time we were critical. Well, that defense has been much improved. So sometimes just a change of scenery can do a lot of different things for you. But again, I trust in what Faulkner and these guys are putting together. Some people say, hey, like why not retain Billy Gonzalez? Again, I think that when you're coming in and you want to reset, you've got to clean house. You can't just keep bits and pieces of what you had. And all for Billy. And I think someone even made a good point here too. Is like, look, if you go out there and hire every splashy coordinator and assistant, then it's gonna be hard to retain them from year in and year out. You're gonna be replacing those guys every so often. I'm not saying that you want to make good hires, but to me, a Brad Harris is a very up and coming, solid, sneaky good hire. Tim Harris is kind of more of I would say, very Gonzalez esque like, where he's coached the game for quite some time, very experienced, but then also, again, you tap into, like we just talked about, that recruiting world where there's a ton of talent that we haven't capitalized on in the last couple of years. And now you've got recruiting icons down in that South Florida area that will help across the board, right? That are just well known for everything, not just wide receivers. You've got literally both sides of the defense now that can be helped with that. So the bigger thing, man, Trout wants it. He's been here, dude. The amount of articles I've seen about 4- and 5-star offensive linemen has been incredible. I've never seen so many offensive lineman offers in my entire life with some credibility behind it, with some juice.
Yeah, it's absolutely unreal. I mean, Friday night and Saturday was just the Twitter timeline was full of Troutwine just out there reoffering kids. And we're not talking like 3 stars at our projects. We're talking the cream of the crop, number 9 of their position, number 5 of their position, number 3 of their position. And it's super exciting, man. It like finally we got a staff that that we feel good about and proud about. You know, that's one thing with the last tenure, man. We were like all these staff hires were underwhelming. I think the only 2 good ones was Kerry Colbert. He left for the NFL and he's working out there. Wide receiver coach. He was there a year.
Chapman was solid.
Chapman was solid. Chapman was a solid pickup, and probably Ron Roberts. All the rest. Well, obviously Jaluk too. Going to
but
Texas.
Jaluk came with him though.
All the rest have kind of not really
knocked anyone's
got any big hires.
Yeah, look, for Tim Harris too, like his resume isn't, if you take a look at it, it's about developing. That's his bread and butter, and that's what I feel that we've lacked on. I think we've done a great job of getting the athletic guys, but outside of that, haven't done anymore. And that's what Tim Harris is known for route detail, release work. And again, I think that's what people are misunderstanding. I think Buster realizes, like, hey, we need to compliment DJ a little bit more. We need to get some guys in here. We need to get a coach in here that can help teach some of this route running. Like, hey, athleticism is great, but DBs in the SEC and the play calling is going to overcome that athleticism. They're used to playing your type. And if I don't got a quarterback that feels comfortable, you've got to be on your A game. And that's something that I've spoken to a lot, where it just feels like, look, I think the routes were a big key, and the route tree was huge. This is what made Vernell Brown so special this year. Just his knowledge of the route tree and his ability to create separation and get open. Other guys have lacked that and have lacked that development. Again, a big one for me is Aiden Mizell. Guy's got speed. We've seen what he's done when he's on the football field, when he has a ball in his hands. And I've talked to his dad about this before, and he's like, look, they're wanting him to be something he's not. And I blame that on everybody. I blame that on Billy, on both Billies, right? Yeah. On not understanding who he is and what you need him to be. Like, it's like, he's not great in the slot. I was like, well, he's not a slot receiver. So those are things that I spoke
with. Outside and have him run go routes. I mean, what?
Yeah.
It's not hard. Like, you know how many wide receivers in the NFL have made a career off running 2 routes? Plenty of them.
Well, Tim Harris Jr. is the wide receiver coach.
Yep.
So Tim Harris is the dad, then Junior is the big brother from FSU, Jim, and then it's Brandon, who is currently our DB coach. So
Tim Ice Harris is his dad. Is the dad of the 2.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know if he was. Yeah, I think the combination of everybody is what excites me. Some other names being thrown around. Pete Nakos just dropped an article about names. We've talked about these names a little bit in our Discord. Where did it go? Again, Marcus Davis is another one to keep an eye on. Okay.
I would say Brandon Spikes is a part of the staff. He just
He's part.
shot
No,
the
he's
20.
part of like the NIL side of things now. He's part of that the front office.
Okay.
That's why we saw him part of those recruiting staff. All those videos. That's what he's
Okay.
functioning on.
I'm
You gotta
cool
keep in
with
mind
it.
because he may not. It may what he wants to do, right? I think
Yeah.
people have to understand like not everybody wants to be a coach. They just want to be involved with it in some aspect. So Pluto plugs. Who do you think the quarterback coach is going to be? Right now, NACO's wrote an article saying Joe Craddock, who's the offensive coordinator at Tulane, is interviewing for other opportunities, but says he could come as a Florida quarterback coach, which I wouldn't mind at all. I think that is a healthy transition, in my opinion. Somebody who obviously,
Yeah.
if you see who they've worked with in the development they've done over the last couple of years, obviously their first quarterback went over to Duke, and then their senior quarterback this year. So I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that at all. Another name being tossed around. So Derek Nix was looked as a top candidate, but now is looking at Alabama is making a surge. So some names being vetted is Texas running back coach Chad Scott and Norvell McKenzie. So we could just be an even swap with Texas.
Okay.
And again, sometimes I don't hate that at all. Sometimes again, a change of scenery can do a lot for somebody. And so it's just like I just need to get out of this. And now you've got a guy that's worked in that Texas area. I don't hate that at all. Go ahead.
You know what I like about this about the Craddock hire? You're bringing a Tulane guy over, but you're telling him he's not ready to be an OC yet at this level, and that he can be the
even a
coach.
top tier assistant. Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna be like a
quarterback
coach
coach is like a third. Yeah, I would say
it's
like
a big
third
slide.
tier.
It's a big slide, but
That's why I'm saying that's a healthy
slide.
hire in my opinion. Yeah, like if you're looking at just kind of, and again, it's somebody you've worked with. I don't mind bringing certain guys over. It's the problem was that when Billy would bring his guys over, he gave them the exact same role or promoted them to some extent. Right? That was the problem. So those are things you have to look at. They're saying we just got to decommit. I'll take a look from 2027, which we'll see who it is. It doesn't really bother me too much, I wouldn't think, but I guess I'll make that decision once I see the name. Tremon Collins, 4-star athlete, has decommitted.
Okay.
I didn't even know he had him committed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Wide receiver.
Where's he from?
6'2", 183, 4-star. You know what's funny is yes, you know who's recruited him? Billy Gonzalez and Tim Harris Jr. So and Auburn. All his top three were all three wide receiver coaches.
Yeah.
So and Kentucky.
Well,
so I don't know what's going on. Maybe just take a look at his options.
Maybe Will Stein's trying to swoop in, make him his his shiny.
Could be
shiny guy.
Bye, cuz. So those are the other names. The other name expected to join the staff is Trent McKnight, who is the wide receiver coach at Georgia Tech. They're expecting him probably to be the tight end coach. So again, this is all expected. Nothing is prominent.
Okay.
I would say the closest thing right now that is close to prominent is Brandon and Chris Collins. Those two seem to have more stability as signing than any of these other names that I just mentioned. I think that all these other names are just kind of like what leads the way currently, right? There's crystal balls for these guys, if you will. But, and again, when you look at these names, you can kind of, all right, how do we want to judge it? I think we got to wait, honestly, to wait and see. But we talked a lot about these names. I don't hate any of them, but I want to be critical. I don't want to be just complete Kool-Aid and dialed in.
Well,
but go ahead.
I think if people were thinking that, we were going to go get like the number one guy off of, out of every position group, I just don't think that's possible. I think you have a very good stable top with your OC hire, your DC hire, your head coach hire. I think the O-line hire is absolutely tremendous. That's a big splashy hire. I think that I think that you're gonna have to you're not gonna be able to sign everybody that's elite, the top guy, right? Like so you're gonna have to do some research and figure out what guys you want. For people to think that we're gonna go get like the second coming wide receiver coach from what's his name? He just took the South Florida.
Yeah, Brian
job.
Hartline. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Hartline. Like we're gonna go get Brian Hartline Jr. Like we do still have a budget, guys, and I think that the bones of this thing is extremely good. Development in the trenches is number one in the
I mean,
SEC.
all these guys have
And we got
P4 experience. And
yeah,
the guys prior to this, I mean, when you take a look at it, did not have that. And now,
yeah,
again, that's not the greatest comparison because of how low the bar was. I get that. Like, if I'm sitting here trying to, like, in my head, I try to debate myself. Like, you guys don't realize I'm trying to, you know, honestly see the other side of it and not just be completely blindsided. Because when a hire happens, you want to be excited. Like,
yeah. But
I want
it's
to be
like
supportive.
who's like somebody name another wide receiver coach that's splashy, not named
Heartline.
Hartline. Like nobody knows. We just
Probably
know that
Oregon. They do a good job with wide receivers, but at the same time, I
Bryant.
mean, they recruit them well. When we think of wide receiver, I don't think of Oregon. I think of Ohio
No.
State. I think of LSU.
Oh.
Bama is kind of lost its swagger a little bit in the last couple
Not
of years.
after this year. Their wide receivers look terrible.
That's
They
what
look
I'm
like
saying.
They regressed.
I would
Yeah.
say Auburn has the appeal, right, of who they've recruited, but in the sense of like development of like, yeah, like you go there to be. I would say Texas Tech's done a pretty damn bang up job with some of their wide receivers, if we're being honest. And hell, I mean, your Heisman winner was it Diego Cody? No, it wasn't. Okay,
No.
I just forgot. Oh, USC
They're
wide
gonna
receiver
build
coach. I feel like USC is like LSU. They just get dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they just produce some studs out there. Craddock has been an OC at like 4 schools and 2 SEC schools. I don't think that you. What did you say about Craddock?
I said that he's taken a step down.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're saying educate yourself, but I don't know what you said about him that would.
Bro,
You
comments been wild.
I was
Comments
like,
been wild.
you said because you said that he was taking a step back, and that you're saying that he is.
Yeah.
Coach is saying that he's not ready. If you're
Not
saying
ready.
that, hey,
Yeah.
let's see here.
If he
Jimmy
was
House
if
says,
he was
what-
if he was a SEC coordinator 2 times and it obviously didn't work out because he's not continuing in SEC coordinator. Obviously, he's not ready. So there's your education, Gavin.
2 out of the 3 main Auburn receivers hit the portal. Yeah, which again, Marcus Daniels is one to keep an eye on. Jimmy says, "We'll look at the hires. Pay attention to the region they coach/recruited in. We're locking down guys that recruited the Southern East USA, which is primarily where the best high school athletes play." And again, I think that's something we've kind of alluded to a little bit of, right? The names that were hired don't necessarily have the most, I would say, splashy, historic recruiting aspect. But I think in today's age with NIL, anybody can really recruit. Now, the type of people you recruit matter, and I think that that's what Napier did do a good job of recruiting guys that really buy into the logo, which is great for, morale and I guess keeping guys dialed in when you go 3-10 and 4-8 every single year. But I'd rather you go get me some dogs. And so I think that the staff they're putting together, like Jimmy's alluding to, is attacking. Again, the Harris brothers, if you're able to lock that up, I think that is massive for the South Florida dipping into that world.
Pipeline.
I think Troutwine's already hit the ground running, right? And he obviously is recruited up in that upper echelon area with the Corn-Fed boys, which I love tremendously. And then who else are we looking at? Chris Collins, who's kind of, worked in that middle tier of the states. So a lot of moving around. A lot of moving around. I listen. At this point, for me too, there is a point where you have to trust the coaches that are making the play. Like, we all want to sit here and be critical because we're looking at it as a one-off hire, but you have to also look at it as, okay, I've put my tiers together. Now let's all work together. Like, hey, who do you think is going to make your system run the best? And it may not make sense to us right away on paper, but they see something that we don't. And the reason I say this is because, again, he came out and said he was going to do X, Y, and Z. He has done X, Y, and Z since he's been here. And so at some point, we've got to have some leniency of like, hey, we may not have think that may not be a good hire based off whatever criteria that we're looking at. But we trusted him, and we've been ecstatic with these first couple of hires. I don't think these guys are just coming in here to blow the rest of it out the water, right?
Yeah, I think so too. And like I said, I really like the one hire, the one Harris hire. I'd really like to double dip and go get the second one if we can, because then you're just opening the floodgates on both sides of the ball of South Florida talent. And there's not much we have to go and get outside of Florida. I think offensive line minus IMG, I think you could go up to the Midwest and you can go yank some kids. I think that besides that, I think, you're locking down a lot of this South, Louisiana, the whole I-10. You're kind of locking it down with coaches and recruiting, and I really enjoy it.
No doubt, no doubt. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get some finalized announcements on these names, so we can kind of put the whole staff together. Again, I really wonder how people are going to react with, I think, strength and conditioning, which is funny because that was something I spoke heavily about the last couple of years. People are like, who cares about that? And now it seems to be a number one priority. But for some, for most, again, I think he's bringing his own guy, and I don't know how people are going to react on that because they want this big splashy hire. I hear you. But we'll see. I wish he would have gotten a big name strength coach, the most important hire. Oh, look, we were just talking about that, JJ. Yeah, again, I think getting a big splashy strength and conditioning is going to be hard because so let's do this. Let's do this really quick for strength and conditioning. Because if you want to say,
five.
I mean, top 5 strength and conditioning, I don't even know how they rank it, right? I'll just do
off of pay.
That's not true because we had the number one guy. So, but again, they have the highest pay. But right here, the top colleges are known for innovation, athletic development, and high salaries. With names like Rob Glass at OSU, he's not leaving. Like, there isn't an amount of money you can give him for him to leave. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
David Ballou from Alabama, he's not leaving. Okay? It's not going to happen. Jared Schmidt from Oklahoma, he's not leaving Brennables. Joey Batson from Clemson is a possibility because of the situation that's going on in Clemson. That could happen. Scott Sinclair from Georgia is not going to happen. Like, they're not leaving their guy. Like, these things are connected at the hip. And that's what people have to understand is, like, you just can't, like, I don't care what you offer them. They're not leaving. They are not leaving. So, in some sense, that position, you've got to find a guy that's up and coming, and hopefully they grow into that role a little bit with whoever you are, right? Like when Florida let go of Coach Savage and Lane, you saw when Lane left, who was with him on that plane? Savage was probably first, if we're being honest.
Yep.
So, QB coach, yeah, we talked about that. Joe Craddock, who is the Tulane offensive coordinator, seems to be, that could be a possibility. That could be a possibility, is what they're saying.
He'll still be making more money. He'll still be making more money at Florida than at OC. Like the money slide won't be. He'll make more money as a quarterback coach. But just he must really like Summerall if he's willing to take that slide down from OC to obviously quarterback coach.
So Andrew Swasey, because he's at Miami now, and obviously they've done well, but he was somewhere else before that because their strength and conditioning coach just quit.
Yeah.
I guess he's always been there. Oh, he's been there since 2001.
They had a strength and conditioning coach that had like a handlebar or like
a goofy mustache. I thought he was ahead of it.
Or maybe he got promoted.
I don't know. I know he wasn't there because he was somewhere different. Anywho, we're watching this on the big screen. I love it. Let's talk about a few things here. Well, first order of business show, of course, brought to you by Kalshi. We've been powered by them all season long. After this, we're going to get into DJ Lagway, some stuff that we were... Yeah, so also was at Colorado this past year. That's what I was just looking at. I remember he was with Dion. So he had... Because, again, they had the handlebar mustache guy at Miami. So there are guys that move around. But, again, Andrew's also been in the league for quite some time. He's kind of moved around and tried different things, which I think is part of why he's been shuffled around. So there maybe there's a strength and conditioning coach that's kind of sliding around like that, though. I don't know about, right? Maybe Craig Fitzgerald that went to Boston College. He could be looking for a new position because Bill O'Brien might be out. So there's other opportunities for sure. But I would be shocked personally. Kalshi, obviously, been bringing you guys a lot of content from them all season long. It looks like as of last night, Kenny Dillingham has skyrocketed in the Kalshi odds to be the next head coach for the Michigan Wolverines. Again, something we've utilized this entire time for coaching search. Is probably my most fun thing to watch, but it's also fun to use during games because it is used by you, the people, not like your typical Vegas odds. It's used by how we, the people, are betting on it, and that's what drives the markets to go up and down. So when you use the code HIGHTOP and you deposit $100, you get $10 off when you check into Kalshi. Now, let's dive into the DJ Lagway here. When Connor Clark was on, he talked about him transitioning training or just his weight adjust, looking to lose some weight, and then also getting a new quarterback coach as well. But D1 training is who is now working with him in Gainesville, Florida. They posted this photo, so we were excited to work with DJ. Now, when you first see this, you're thinking, okay, he must be a lock into Gainesville because D1 is in Gainesville. But D1 is a national brand. It's backed by Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Chris Paul, which I love, and it's kind of a newer brand from what I could tell me the last couple of years that has really focused on training D1 athletes to get to that next level. So it's not like it's like a gym, right? If he were to transfer schools, he could transfer D1 is what I was getting at. It's not like it's a local thing. I'm not saying he's going to, but trying to read the tea leaves here. I do believe that he will be a Gator personally, but I don't know if this necessarily locks anything or secures anything in. But he already looks better. I mean, like instantly better. And I think people were asking about injury and surgery wise. I haven't heard anything, and I'm assuming maybe he's, healed up. I really don't know from that sense. But I do like seeing the adjustments and him taking a new approach. He obviously realized whatever he was doing last year was not working. And again, backed by Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, the two goats of in quarterback world, I'm all in. I'm all in. And look, I think the fan base is kind of 50-50 on this from what I could tell. And we were very critical for DJ all season long, as we should have been. It was all warranted. It was from a place of love. We were frustrated like the rest of us were, as I'm sure he was. You've seen him on the sideline. 23 interceptions in 19 games. Again, people are still not going to be a fan of it. And I understand that. I think there's a lot of mental things that he has to overcome. But these are the first steps in making the right direction. I'm all for rehabilitation and getting another chance. And at least he's taken that approach to do whatever he needs to do. With all that being said, I think that Summerall and everybody else still has to approach the game as if whatever data they have from last year. You still had a quarterback that struggled. You had a quarterback that threw a lot of interceptions. You had a quarterback that, had very loud feet, had poor mechanics at times. Those are things that you can't go into next year with complete trust. So I love all these things for DJ, and I hope that he turns into the quarterback that we all anticipated and expected him to be this year, and I believe that he can. But I do believe that Coach Summerall and Faulkner have to approach the portal with what they've already seen. Not just, hey, he's making these changes. You got to go, hey, I love it. I appreciate it. But I still have to do my due diligence.
Yeah, I agree. I like the self-accountability and knowing that he's got to shed some weight. I don't think all that weight was due to the strength and conditioning or stuff like that. I think some of it was just because he was hurt so much. And naturally, he's just a big guy. I think he just may have added a little more weight than what he wanted. You know, the guy, you got to remember the guy was hurt. What, from basically the Tulane game to past the spring game to fall practice.
Yeah, look, and we were kind of, I mean, how many times do we have conversations? Should we be concerned about it? I mean, we said multiple times on the show, which people like to remind me, like, you said he was going to be fine. Like, I mean, I assumed he'd be fine based on what people said. Like, you heard Napier, like, hey, everything's good. We were told that everything was good, and I trusted and believed in my coaches that what they were telling me were true, and you can call me an idiot for that. That's fine. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do and just believe that everyone's lying to me all the time. I don't, that's not a fun way to live, but I didn't expect it to be such a, because again, my thing was like, look, just don't go backwards. Like if he would have just been what he was freshman year, we would have won a handful more games, right? But it wasn't even the same guy. I mean, just his pocket presence dropped dramatically. Like I find it hard to believe that injury causes that. I don't know what it was. I couldn't tell you. I'm not in the mind of those guys, so I don't know. But I'm hoping that to see some progress and again a true full off season. I can tell you this: if I start hearing that DJ's got a boot on and he's not practicing, I'm not selling any smoke. I'm gonna need to see some playing time, brother. Okay,
I don't want to hear about bandages. I don't want to. Listen, if he stubs his little pinky toe and it's day by day, we're evaluating it. I'm worried. Okay, go ahead and get Trammell all the starting reps because you're gonna need them.
Yeah, right here too. So Summerall in says George Peck fans have been worried sick about losing Philo. coming with Buster, I think he might be better than DJ. We had that guy call in one of the call-in shows who's close with Georgia Tech. I think he's up in that area, I believe. And Philo, I think, won his state championship. Like, he's actually pretty stud quarterback. I think played single A, given why his ratings were so low. But there has been a lot of hype. I think he's like, 6'2", about 215, 205, I believe. So fits the stature, right? Is obviously, those are key things you can't teach. But Buster, and I would love the transfer. I really would. I think after a lot of the stuff that we were looking at, I wouldn't hate it. And I think that would make that quarterback room come together very healthfully. I did see a fun little fact, which is something to keep in mind. The last 4 Heisman winners were all transfers, which, kind of just speaks. In the last, I think, 7 of the 9 were transfers, which tells you that there's talent out there. Okay. And obviously we know Fernando was a 1-star. What's his face? Last year, Cam Ward was a 2-star. Jaden Daniels, I think, was a 3-star, right?
Yeah.
So there's keep your eyes open. That's all that I'm saying. Napier had DJ overthinking everything and fried his brain. Hopefully Buster can rewire him and get him comfortable again. He has all the tools. Now he's got the right coach. And that's the thing, is that he has the athleticism and just that baller mentality. Like, that was a big thing why I always loved DJ, why I was so high. These were my expectations because of what I saw in high school, because we still have a very limited sample size headed into this year, but just his natural ability on the football field was phenomenal, right? Like, he could make plays. We didn't see much of that this year. It was a lot of second guessing and overthinking things.
I don't know if the arm was as live this year as what it was his freshman year. I mean, his freshman year, he was dropping them deep balls in the bucket. Even this year, he struggled with those underthrow. I remember the big underthrow. I can't remember what game it was, but the arm didn't seem. I don't know if it's because of shoulder or whatever. The arm didn't seem as live as last year, as his freshman year.
$2. Any support for Chapman on D-line with coaches? I haven't heard anything about the edge play.
Nope.
This guy right here, Rob, says, why would he come compete when he has a starting job locked up at Georgia Tech under the same head coach? I don't know if it's guaranteed he's got a locked up job there with Chip Kelly coming in. They may go to the portal too.
Yeah.
Like, that's not,
Yep.
I'm not saying that it is or isn't. I don't know, but that isn't guaranteed.
He may not fit Chip Kelly's offense, what they want to do.
And who knows? I mean, look, it's not that he's, hey, yeah, you may have to compete, but you're competing with, in a premier program at a premier level where you're going to be seen. And
a scheme that you already know.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Oh, Travis Hunter won last year. Who was a 5-star stud, but a transfer.
Yeah.
So that's right. Cam Ward did not win. That's right. Kirby Smart to Michigan. Come on now. Get out of here. So I'm excited. I'm happy for DJ though. He looks better already. Like, he looks just a little bit leaner than what he did, obviously, at the beginning of the season. So we'll see. Would it benefit DJ to sit a year and use his red shirt that he burned? Not now. I mean, he's got to keep rocking and rolling. Yeah,
that should have been done last year.
Yeah, 100%.
If you were gonna sit him, you should have kept the kid, the Purdy. You should have kept him and sat DJ. That's what you should have done, probably.
Oh, yeah, that one kid we transferred in. Yeah, that then ultimately transferred out. Yeah. That would have been an interesting one to keep an eye on, to say the least. No doubt. Did you see? So Jeremiah Smith missed out on the wide receiver of the Bucknoff Award. Did you see the video he posted? Fired me up. Of, like, basically, I'm gonna go kill somebody. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the mentality. Well, we got 800 people in here, guys. Not 200 likes, which is very upsetting. I appreciate if you guys can smash the like button and subscribe. Look, great stuff. Great update on the staff. Once it all comes together, maybe we'll have Allie Peak on tonight. We like to do our Sunday night shows. We've had a blast with that. Just kind of recapping where things are at. Obviously, next week starts a playoff week for Coach Summerall, so he's got to put the Tulane hat back on, which is the unfortunate part. That's the part that I hate about this, that we are sharing him with Tulane. I think it's still an opportunity for players to see who they're getting and who they're working with. And I'm excited because for Florida fans, we don't have football. This gives us football, right? Like, in my eyes, I'm a Wave fan this weekend, and I'm gonna go see how this star roster performs against a high caliber team like Ole Miss, a coachless team, Ole Miss, if you will. Look, they're going 2-0 Miss. It's going to be a hostile environment. And at this point, I think if you're somewhere, you got to go out there and just do the best you can and whoop some ass. And you've got an opportunity to step on their throats. So we'll see this. And he says it. This, and I don't know if you saw two different conversations, which I loved. So Summerall said it in an interview. I don't remember which one it was now. That this team is now a player-ran team. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah.
When in the beginning,
Yes.
go ahead.
I think it was in the
Barstool.
There was one, the Barstool interview, and then he had another great interview. Sit down with Urban Meyer, the voice of the Gators, and the fireside chat. That was also a good one with some idea of the difference between Tulane and Florida, and what like why that team has taken its next step.
And you hear that, right? And it's like I've never felt like Florida was a player-ran team ever.
No.
And you see
it was when they were winning natties.
Yeah. Think about all these conversations we've had, right? You hear Summerall say that. And what you just said, and we've had Harris talk about that time of the block kick, the cock block, right? When Jarvis Mosh comes in and blocks it. They have that conversation on the sideline, and Harris is like, no, lead Jarvis in. Let me come on, I think it was the left side. They've been weak there all night because they wanted to blitz the other side. Coach was calling the other side. He's like, Coach, trust me. I've been doing it all night. And it's like, all right, go do it, baby. You got to trust your guys, right? The coaching's done. At that point of the year, we're here just to make sure you don't get ran over, right? It's like a parent. Like you got to go play with the kids and handle your own. I'm just here to watch in case it goes off the haywire and come pick you back up for 2 seconds. But ultimately, you're a human now. You got to go do you.
Yeah.
I never felt Florida has been there, and I don't know how long. I felt like we've been having to coach I think defensively it was a little bit like that, and I think that's why we've had the success we had this year, but not to its full capacity. And so I hear that, and then I hear Todd Bowles after their blunder on Thursday night it was against Atlanta, and it was a very interesting. And I loved it actually because he was like, "This is on them." He goes, we're at the point of the season where the players have to be coaching themselves. This isn't on the coaches anymore. This is a player-ran team. They need to hold themselves accountable. They've got to have the conversation among themselves that they want to be here next week. And I was like, and people might hear it kind of off in the distance. It's like, that guy can't even take accountability. Like, that was actually him doing a great job of taking accountability of if I come in and step in now, the season's lost anyways. If I have to come in here and do your job for you, we're done.
Yeah.
So whether we win or lose, I'm going to be gone regardless. So it doesn't matter if I say it's my fault or not, because the record's going to get me out of here. And he knows that. So it's like, figure it out, guys. I've done what I could do, and if it sucks, that's fine, but it's in your hands now. It was a very, again, hearing two different sides of it with the same take, very refreshing. Very refreshing.
When you watch Swamp Kings, Brandon Spikes, as a young guy, kind of, he had to figure it out. He didn't want to be a leader, and it took him a while to figure it out. And I'm not comparing Miles Graham to Brandon Spikes by no means. I'm saying that highly touted linebacker, much respected, I'm sure, on the team. A guy that is young and still figuring out the SEC play, but it's your junior year now. You gotta be a leader on that defense. Like you gotta be there.
Who, Miles Graham?
2 years ago, yeah, Miles Graham. 2 years ago we had Big Cam Jackson. Like that, just his he was, just obviously being the big defensive nose tackle. Like there's one thing, but just his attitude, loud, boisterous, just, could tell if he said something, the team was listening, especially the defense.
Yeah, I think Miles Graham is going to be a huge component to that. I think VB3 will be a huge component to that next year. Jaden Ball has the capabilities of running with that as well, and DJ does too. But DJ has to get out of his head to do that. People want to follow him into war, but he can't be thinking about too much.
The problem with DJ is, and I've noticed this year. Last year, when things were tough and they were making those comebacks, DJ was on the sideline pumping guys up, telling them, we got this. It's not that big a deal. We're going to go, because he was playing at his freshman year. He's playing at a great level, and everybody bought into it and rallied around him. This year, every time it panned to DJ Lagway, he was sitting on the bench looking like, "What am I even doing here?" Like deer in the headlights, like just no emotion, emotionless,
No fire.
and no fire. And I don't know if that's just because of he's in his head mentally because of the INTs. I don't know if he just was injured and he just felt like he couldn't get it done and he knew that and he was letting the team down. I don't know. But you got listen, the quarterback position is the most important position in all of football. Everybody knows that. You get a winner there and you're going to win a bunch of games. We got to figure that out. Is DJ going to be a leader, a winner, a guy that can
All of it.
rally the troops, or is he not? And if he's not, then he's not the guy. I'm sorry.
Junior, $5. Which under the radar player that no one is talking about would you be concerned to leave when the portal opens? Man, that's a good question.
Under the radar player
So like Miles
that
Graham wouldn't
I
count, Jaden Ball wouldn't count. I wouldn't say VB3 wouldn't count. Dallas Wilson would not count.
that would hurt the team. I think one of those two young safeties. I think Hayward
I
or
disagree. I think it's on the
Stubbs.
line. I think it's on the line somewhere. I think like a
Oh,
Cameron
Makai
James.
Burrow.
Yeah, or Burrow.
Burrow for sure.
Jaden Woods. Jaden Woods hasn't been talked about enough of a possibility. Those guys
Yeah.
are. Jaden Woods is a freak and coming off. I mean, the edge in my edge position is something that we have not capitalized on. Man, I feel like we felt like we've had the talent, but if we had a Colin Simmons, like coming off the edge, and these guys, and I think Jaden Woods showed you that this year. That's somebody who is, in my opinion, that's not
I
being spoke about. That would be a massive loss.
I would say that the two big guys inside. I would say McLeod and Burrow
I think those are
are my
healthy
two
picks too.
biggest.
Just because, and again, I say no to the safeties because of how thick it is. There's a lot of talent
Yeah.
coming in, and so you don't know if those guys can replace it or not. We don't have the same talent. We got to retain those guys from on the interior side, all of them.
Oh, a healthy Gates. There it is. There it is. End it. Healthy Gates.
A
A
healthy
healthy Gates
Gates, but he's
is
also going into his senior year. So again, there's a lot of talent that is there to replace him. I love Aaron Gates, my favorite player, because that guy is a Gator through and through, and I don't think he goes anywhere, to be honest with you. Because if you remember with Aaron Gates, he committed to Florida before Billy. Then Billy comes in.
Mhm.
He dealt with all of the shenanigans. I mean, he's gone through all of it. This guy is a Gator through and through. Love that guy to death. I don't think he goes anywhere. If he does, I wouldn't be surprised if he was pushed out. In the sense because he wasn't recruited by these talent. They say, hey, we've got this coming in. Your budget's going to change a little bit. That would be the only thing that I could see happen, to be honest with you. But I don't see him wanting to leave, personally, because
That
of what he's already been through.
That defense is just different when he's out on the field, though.
It
It's
is.
just different.
Him and Thornton, man, the together, it's a deadly combo. Great question, Junior. 316 says, faithfully watch y'all. Go Gators. I appreciate it. Also, shout out to Justin. Today I saw him at Bass Pro Shop. He said hi. So thank you for saying, hey, man, I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching the show as well. Much love there. Was Hamilton retained? From my understanding, yes. Again, two separate things, but we'll see.
Hamilton? I think, yeah, I
Joe
think he's still
Hamilton.
at the university.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep that guy too. That's your pipeline into Texas, and you got to be able to go in and get guys like Gross.
Yeah, I love Gates. It'll be interesting to see. I know Chapman, and this is just kind of hearsay, but I know there were sometimes some frustrations because the line wasn't coached together. Chapman never got his hands on the edge rushers. So I wonder if that's why we haven't heard an edge rusher be called yet, and that's why Bam might get the co-title of linebacker / outside linebackers, where it's like, hey, when they're on the line, Chapman gets them. If they've got to drop back in coverage, that's where you can step in, Bam. But Chapman goes, I want to lock the lines in. He wants all of them.
Uh-oh.
What?
Well, it's still in his profile picture, but he doesn't have a background picture
Who?
of Florida. Joe Hamilton.
Has he always had it?
I don't know. It's not like I check the guy's Twitter all the time.
Well, bro, how you can't
know.
go, brother. Like we talked about
Well, I
this.
mean, it's just weird. It's weird, and he's retweeting a lot of the James Madison.
Oh no,
hires.
that doesn't look good at all. It's black, and his profile picture is a black hoodie.
Yeah.
and he just recroasted a JMU thing.
Yeah.
He still has Gators football in his bio, though.
Barely. That's fading by the second. Every time I scroll up, there's a letter missing.
Oof.
That sucks.
Can we hold on? Let's see who he's following. Is he following Coach?
Coach Napier.
He's following Heartline. He just started following Brian Heartline. Uh-oh.
He's not following Summerall.
It doesn't look like it.
Ooh.
The tea leaves always get juicy, don't they?
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah. Yeesh.
Dang it. Need that guy.
Yeah, he just... I mean, I'm pretty sure this is how the order goes. Yikes.
Going to USF.
That'd be huge. That'd be a recruiting powerhouse, to say the least. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. If I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Way to end the show. Well, you're welcome.
All right. Glad we got some.
Play the music.
Yep. All right. Glad we. Hopefully, you guys feel positive on that one. We'll leave on a high note. All right. We'll leave on a high note. Cue it. Smash the like button, subscribe. We're on the way to 30,000 subs. We got what? 16 days to get there. Let's get there, guys. Come on. Smash it, like it. Y'all be good. Peace and love, baby. Blues Clues.
It's Hot Top Sports where the takes don't miss. The prof with the stats, the champ with the fists. Water bringing fire, cowboy, out riding bold. Bulls calling bets, watch the stories unfold.